Hi everyone, and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today's video is going to be about the books that I'm going to be reading in June, the books that I plan on purchasing in June, and the books that I am currently have over here to my left. I I have to do that whole like L thing to figure out what's left and right, and I'm using my right hand because I'm holding this microphone in my left. But books that I'm currently reading, and if I'm going to be finishing them here in May or in June. It's May 25th right now. I don't know when I'm going to upload this video. Let's start with the books that I am currently reading, and if I think I'm going to be finishing them here in May, or if I'm going to be finishing them in June. First up is Six a Crow. I think I will be finished with this book by the end of May. I don't have a lot left to go. As you can see, I have like a very small portion left. So I should be finished with this book. Honestly, I think I could finish it tomorrow or maybe even today if I really buckle down and do that. But I'm a slow reader, so I will not be doing that. But thoroughly enjoy this book. I really like it. Really good, and I can't wait. I only have 2 more episodes left of season 1 because it's a show, if you couldn't tell. And it's actually why I even decided to read the book, because I started watching the show. I watched the first episode, or no, I bought the book. I don't know why I moved that way, the trilogy right here. I'm looking at my camera, I'm trying to do this, so I'm struggling a lot. The trilogy right here, which I read. I read the first book first, watched the first 3 episodes of the show, and then I was like, I should read Six of Crow. So I started Six of Crow. I'm almost finished with it. Really, if you want to start the show, all you need to do is get to part 3, like finish part 3 of Shadow and Bone, Six of Crow, and you are good to go on watching the show. At least season 1. I'm not finished with season 1 yet, but it seems like that's it for the Crows, so I think we're doing good. Hopefully I'm not wrong. I'm sorry if I am. But I really enjoy Six a Crow, really enjoy the show. Highly recommend you watch the show. I know season 2 is not that good, but I want the Crow spin-off, so I will watch season 2. Next up, this book I definitely will not be finishing by the end of May, but I hope to finish it in June, and the whole series. I hope to finish the whole series by the end of June, which is Heir of Fire, Throne of Glass series. So it took me a while to get into this book, which is funny because everywhere I've seen about this book, people say that the series picks up with this book. This book is what made the series good. I read Assassin's Blade. By me, if there's a prequel, I'm gonna read the prequel first. I don't like prequels. I'm gonna make that very clear right here, right now. I don't like prequels. Especially if the series is finished and then you throw in a prequel, I'm gonna get pissed off. So I read the prequel first, Assassin's Blade. Enjoyed it. I tried not to get too attached because I read ACOTAR, and because I'd seen so many TikToks of ACOTAR, I'd come across a few TikToks for Heir of Fire, Throne of Glass, and I was like, oh, okay. I'm not gonna get too attached to this character because I have a feeling I know what's gonna happen with this character. And then I started Throne of Glass, and I was like, okay, not too attached. And then I got to Crown of Midnight, and I was like, okay, fun game. And then at the end of Crown of Midnight, I was like, oh, okay. So, spoiler, I'm waiting for the name change. I'm waiting for Alan. But, yeah, so it took me a minute to get into this book. I like the other books a bit more, but this book is starting to get good. I will say that. I think it just took a minute for me. It took about 100 pages for it to get good. But this is a pretty thick boy, so, I'm excited to see the rest of it. I don't really see the hype with Ronan, but that might just be me. I don't think I read or really took in the descriptions because I kind of pictured a really buff guy, but I feel like in all the fan art I've seen, I haven't done a deep dive into it. He looks a bit more skinnier, so I'm a little confusion. I might just need to reread his introduction, so let me know if I should do that. Because I just might be picturing a, a Cassian. I feel like that's what I'm picturing for him. Like, physique wise, not personality wise. Um, but yeah, and my goal for the summer, one of my goals for the summer is to finish the entire series. I don't know how realistic that is, especially considering I'm a slow reader. But I would like to finish the series. I finished Akatar. It took me a year, maybe more, but I mean, I finished it. And I definitely want to finish it before the third Crescent City book comes out. But we'll see. I need to move something. Okay. Next book that I am currently reading. Oh, I feel like I should have mentioned this earlier. I read multiple books at once. I just do. Does that make it longer for me to read books? Maybe. But I like to do it because say I get to a part in the book that I am like, oh my god, this is cringy as hell. I can go to a different book and not encounter anything cringy for a little bit. So that's why I read multiple books, is because I get either pissed off or I'm like, oh my god, I cannot. And I just go to a different book and I read that book. That way I can forget what happened and then eventually come back to that other book that I was reading eventually and not like and not stop reading for a week or more because I can't handle a scene in a book. So that's why I read multiple books at once. So that way I always have a book to go to, and so I'm not struggling, taking even longer to read a book than I need to be. So I can always finish a book even if I'm stuck at a book that I don't like. Okay? Okay. I want to make sure we're on the same page there. So the next book, I don't have the physical copy of that book because it's on my Kindle app, but I do have the first book in the series. So I'm going to hold that up. I'm going to say the name of the actual book that I'm currently reading, which is Vicious Prince. This is Deviant King. Great one. Definitely one of my favorites in the series, but I'm currently reading the fifth book in the series, which is Vicious Prince. This series is a dark romance. It is specifically a bully romance, and I love it. Rina Kent is what got me into dark romance. I read The Vipers first. That was my first dark romance book. I know. Crazy. But this was the first one that I finished because I started in The Vipers and then I was like, okay, let me check out a different one. And then I saw a TikTok for a book called Ruthless Empire, which is the sixth book in the series. So I read the series out of order, but the series is a standalone except for this book. This book has three, is a trilogy, so you have to read these in order. But the other books in the series, you can kind of read in whatever order you like, which is what I did. So the last one for me is the fifth one, but I started with the sixth one. I'm weird. But yeah, I really love Vicious Prince. It's a really great. I'm only 50% done with it, but it's already part of my top three Rina Kent, or at least for this series, because she has over 20 books, and they're all in the same world. So this is her first series, though. So yeah, I say take a shot every time I say Don't do that. You're gonna be drunk. I will get better at filming this. I promise. But yeah, so I really like Rina Kent. I really love Vicious Prince. I love the series. The next book I am currently reading, and the last one I am currently reading. I mean, this is another book that's in my Kindle that I've been, but I might need enough that book. But if you guys want, I can tell you that book later. Or I need to ask you guys something because I want to finish that book, but I just need to know something. But the series isn't finished yet, so I might wait till the series is finished to then find out. But the last book that I'm going to mention that I'm currently reading is The Fine Print. Girly's struggling with this book. I'm almost to the 50% mark. Hip hip hooray. I don't want to say it's because I dislike Grumpy Sunshine. I think it's because the book is just a little, I want to say cheesy, but I don't know if cheesy is the right word. Because it doesn't, I don't know. I just I'm not feeling it right now. I mean, at the point I'm at, it's definitely a lot better than where it has been. I think I'm just waiting for them to get together. And I'm like, hopefully once they're together, I can get a move on. I don't know. I like Zara. I think Zara's an interesting character. I like the characters. I think together the characters could be. Maybe it's the writing. I don't know what it is. Something about the book I'm not feeling, which sucks because I don't hate the characters. I like the characters. I think they'd be interesting together even. It's just something else about the book I'm not feeling. I think it's the cheesiness at the end of the day. I think I'm just not really into the cheesiness of the book. Which sucks, because then again, I do think that if it wasn't cheesy, I'd probably be down with it. I just think at the end of the day, this book just isn't my cup of tea personally. Um, it's not bad. I want to make that very clear. I think it's just a difference in like what I like to read. Like I said, I love Rena Kent's Royal Elite series, which is the one I just had up. Maybe I just prefer a bit more of a darker romance, but I wouldn't even say that's the case, because one of my favorite romance books I've ever read is The Kiss Quotient, which I really, really enjoy. So I wouldn't even say it's dark romance, that I only read dark romance or only like dark romance, because I've read other romances and I thoroughly enjoy them. It's just, I'm just not the biggest fan of the fine print right now. I'm not finished with the book, like I said, so I will finish it, but I'm just not in love with it. So, and I don't think I'm going to check out the rest of the series. I know I've heard people say the second book is better, and I've only heard that recently. But I know the third book has come out not that long ago. I want to say, I feel like I've seen the third book at at my local Barnes and Noble, but I haven't heard anyone say anything about the third book. So I'm like, even if the second book is better, the third book also is still cheesy as well. I don't think I'm going to continue the series. I think this book I'm going to be done with. So yeah, the fine print, not the biggest fan of it. Sorry to say. I'm sure the author's great. I have another book. I don't know what the series is called, but the book is called Throttled, and I believe it's also by the same author. So hopefully that book's not bad. Otherwise, this just might not be my go-to author. Nothing against the author. Like I said, I have one other series here. I believe it's a part of a series that I'm gonna read, and hopefully, maybe it's just I'm just not the biggest fan of the fine print. But yeah, so fine print, I'll give you my final thoughts on it once I'm finished with it. I don't really have a May wrap up because I don't think I finished. Well, I finished a few Rena Kent books. Let me know if you want to know my May wrap up video. I'll have to go through and figure out which books I finished. I don't think I finished, or no, I finished Shadow and Bone. Okay, I finished a few books. Let me know and I'll give you like my final thoughts on those if you guys want. But now on to books that I plan on reading. So, I have a cart here of books, and each book I finish, I'll start the next book in order, which is why I'm gonna try. I didn't mention this. I'm gonna try and finish this book by the end of May. I think it's possible if I just like hunker down and read it. Because after the fine print, the next book on my list is Crescent City, which, if you don't know, is a Sarah J. Maas book, and she is the same author of Throne of Glass, which Air of Fire, which I have, and ACOTAR, which you can't see, but it's over here. All of her books are about to be connected. They are technically all interconnected. But Crescent City, there are two books out. Okay, I grabbed something while I was trying to grab that big boy. So Crescent City has two books, and the third one is going to come out in January. And that third one, from what I've heard, is going to connect ACOTAR and Throne of Glass. So I'm like, I need to read this book, which is why I am gung-ho on finishing the fine print. Because this is a thick boy. This is the thickest book I think I'm going to ever end up reading. And I think the second book in the series, which I don't have, I think it's also going to be just as thick. So my plan is to read this series. I don't know if I'm going to finish it by the end of June, but to start it in June, and then have the entire series finished by the time the third book comes out. That way I'm all ready to go for the third book. The second book I plan on reading, which is after I'm finished with Vicious Prince, which shouldn't be too long because Rena Kent books are definitely easier to read than other books. But the second book I plan on reading, after Vicious Prince, is Twisted Love. I have seen this book everywhere on TikTok. So I bought it, And like I said, after I finish Vicious Prince, I'm going to read it. And if I like it, then I will buy all the books. And then that leads me to my next section, which is books that I will be reading, or books that I will be purchasing in June. So, like I said, it's going to be, if I like Twisted Love, it's going to be all of the Twisted books in the series, which there's 4, so I'd only buy 3 more. And a book called, I believe it's called The Fourth Wing, because I saw one TikTok saying this book is so popular, it's all over everyone's For You page and everywhere. And then after that one TikTok, boom, it started popping up on my TikTok For You page. And I was like, okay, I need to read this book. So I went to my Barnes & Noble. I didn't see it there, but I didn't do a deep search because I only go to Barnes & Noble when I'm on break at work, because I work in a shopping strip, or the store that I work at is in a shopping strip. So I'll go to Barnes & Noble on my break for the cafe, and sometimes I'll search around and buy books. So I haven't done a deep search to see if it's at my local Barnes & Noble. I almost said library. We don't have a library. The library in my town closed. But I will be purchasing it here soon. So, because I'm interested. I hear it's fantasy. I like fantasy. I hear it has dragons. It'll be the first time I've read a fantasy with dragons. The only fantasy I've read is ACOTAR and Throne of Glass. Maybe Crescent City has dragons. I don't know. I haven't read it yet. Which is funny. Crescent City is the one series I know nothing about. Every other series I've read, I've found spoilers for, or I didn't purposely go searching for spoilers, but I've come across spoilers. Not for Crescent City. Very excited. All I know is that there's a murder, and that's just from reading the synopsis on the back of the book, is that someone dies or something like that. So yeah, so those are the books I plan on getting. Oh, one more thing about Fourth Wing. Even though I'm gonna purchase it in June, I hear that it's a part of a series, and since it's the first book out and there's no other book out, it's gonna be a while before the second book comes out or something. I feel like that's what I've heard. Like I said, I know zero. I know at least the main character's name in Crescent City. I know nothing about Fourth Wing. Nothing. So I'm going to purchase the book. And if it is a series, I'm going to wait till the second book comes out and then start reading the first book. That way, if there's a third book, I don't even know if it's a duology or a trilogy or whatever it is. That way, by the time, if there is a third book, after I finish, there's an ant. It scared the crap out of me. I need to spray vinegar now. I will be reading by the time I finish with the first and second book, if there is a third book, I'll be finished with it. The second book, by the time the third book comes out. And this is a note to any author out there. If you're going to make a book, a series, write the whole series first and then release the book. I don't think that's too much to ask for. I killed the ant. It was driving me insane. So, so those are the books that I'm planning on reading, purchasing in June. Let me know if you want to know books I've read in May. Like I said, I think I should be finished with Six of Crow, so if you want to hear my thoughts on that, I think I finished Shadow and Bone here in May as well. Some of the other Rena Kemp books I finished, let me know, and I'd love to talk to you guys about them, and maybe any other books that I have read in the past that I just haven't mentioned because I'm doing this video now. So let me know. I hope you enjoyed. Sorry for the amount of, I don't want to say stuttering, maybe stuttering. I'll get better at this, I promise. And I will see you guys later. Bye!